you for joining us. My name is Eleanor Cowan. I work in the College of Arts and Sciences Advising Center. I'm an assistant director here, and I am likely an advisor to one of you guys. So you will be assigned to either myself or one of my colleagues, Caitlin, Nancy, Chris, Calvin, and we're going to be very excited to work with you in the upcoming weeks. So give me a second. Well, okay. I'm getting the hang of this. I'm a little not great in Zoom. So when you are going to schedule a meeting for a Casa advisor, you can schedule with us in person, and you can come to the Julius Faust building. That's a picture of us right there. And in our building, we are in the 103 suite. So if you were to walk in those front doors, you'd walk in, you turn left, and then there's a long hallway. That's the 103 suite. We have a iPad in the hallway where you can check in, and then your advisor will come get you. You can also schedule a meeting by Zoom, and we can work with you either way, whatever works best for you. So I will give you guys a chance to chat some questions in a little bit, but I'm going to want to work through my PowerPoint presentation first, and then we'll do that. So before you actually meet with your advisor, what I would like you to do is to go into UNC Genie and look at your degree works report to familiarize yourself with your degree requirements. We'll also have a chance to look through the spring course offerings and match up some offerings that are coming up this spring to some of the classes that you need. You can get to our calendars through Starfish. So if you log into your Starfish account and you go to My Success Network, so starfish.uncg.edu, My Success Network, look for your major advisor, and then schedule an appointment. And you might have to look sort of in the weeks ahead, because already since the spring schedule is open, our calendars are filling up pretty quickly. So it's better to go ahead and schedule a meeting as soon as you can, because the closer we get to the day that your registration window opens, we're not going to have much time available. So if that's the case, if you sort of didn't quite get on to thinking about this on time, and then a few days before your window opens, you try to make an appointment and all of our appointments are full, that doesn't mean that you're not going to get helped. It means that we can do it by email. But if you want to sit down and either in person or by Zoom go through all your stuff, then we can work through it asynchronously through email. So as a first-year student, you're going to register after the seniors, after the juniors, after the sophomores. So the seniors are going to start registering in late October. You are probably going to be down here either November 8th if you have no earned hours yet, if you don't have already some college credits, or if you came in with any college credits, it would be November 7th. There are some students who have priority registration, student athletes, students in honors, students who work with ORs. They may have a date that's going to be a little bit earlier. So honors, athletes, ORs. And if you think that you might, if you're not really sure when you're going to be registering, log into UNC Genie, go to your student tab, go to registration, and check your registration status. So let's walk through that. I'm going to see if this works for me. So to get to UNC Genie, you log in. You go to student registration, check your registration status. Okay, and if you wanted to know how to get to your DegreeWorks report, go to student records and then DegreeWorks, and then I'll bring that up. Okay.
Hey, Eleanor.
Yes.
Is your screen supposed to be changing right now?
Oh,
because we are been stuck on the same slide.
Oh, you're on the slide. It's not actually going. Okay, sorry about that. So you're right. I will have to do something else with that. Oh, sorry about that, you guys. Let me, oops. All right, so I'm going to work through the PowerPoint and then I'll close it and then I'll go to these links that way because I don't seem to be able to, what I'm seeing is not what you guys are seeing. Okay. So register as soon as your window opens. I'll get back around to showing you how to look all that up. And you will be competing with your peers for open seats in the classes. So if your registration window opens on November 8th, it's opening at 12:01 a.m. on November 8th. And you're going to want to stay up the night before and register as soon as you can. If you forget and you go to bed early and you wake up the next day and then you're like at noon, you're thinking, oh gosh, I was supposed to register today. Not the end of the world, you can still register. And remember that the registration window is going to stay open from the time that opens in November through the holidays. So even if you tried to register for a class that you really wanted and it was closed, that doesn't necessarily mean that you're not going to get in the class. It just means that you're going to have to keep looking through November and through December to see if somebody else drops and gives you an opportunity to get in that class. The registration windows are very fluid. People register for classes and then they decide they need to make changes, or they've got some changes in their work schedule, so they have to change their class schedule. All kinds of reasons that those can change. So meet with your advisor well before the registration window opens, because our schedules will fill up. And we're going to look through your degree requirements, your spring course schedule to make a plan for you. One of the things, the most operative thing that you need from us is an advising code. So when your registration window opens, you can go into Schedule Hero now and look through classes, add them to your list of classes, generate schedules, put a schedule in your shopping cart, and that's great. But you won't actually be able to register until two things. One, your window opens, and two, you've received an advising code from your advisor. So just having something in your shopping cart does not secure your spot in classes. Only when you actually register is your spot secured. So I'm going to breeze on through, and I'll do these later because you can't see what I'm doing when I'm doing that, apparently. So I want to switch gears just for a second. Let's think about this term. Today is October 4th. We have a few more days before the deadline to withdraw without academic penalty. So if you are struggling in a class and you think you're going to need to withdraw, you're going to need to do that this week. And you'll need to reach out to your advisor to tell them that you're going to want to withdraw. You can get your fall advising code so that you can go into the system and do that. If at all possible, of course, it's better to pass and continue through with the class, but it's also better to withdraw than to fail. So if you know you're going to fail a class, go ahead. It's fine to withdraw from it. You want to do this before October 7th, because if you did it after October 7th, it's a WF, which is functionally the same thing as an F.
Hey, Eleanor, do you want to try like stop sharing and resharing your screen to see if that helps us be able to go through the PowerPoint and view your screen with you?
I think what I'm going to do is finish the PowerPoint, and then I'm just going to pull up, and then I'll screen share my web links that I'll pull up through. And that's going to, because I'm afraid if I get out of this screen, then I'm not going to be able to progress through my PowerPoint. I was having trouble with that earlier.
Okay,
But
because
I'll get to that, and we'll just flex it a little bit.
okay.
So back to withdrawals. Really, one class to withdraw from is okay. More than one is going to put you in a compromised position where you're not in good academic standing any longer. So if you are absolutely failing more than one class, you're going to need to probably talk to the student's first office, because you may be blocked from being able to withdraw from more than one because there are some consequences. It could jeopardize your financial aid. It's not a great thing to do. If you can pass a class, even if it's a low grade, it's better to take the grade and move on and earn that academic credit. So talk to your advisor this week if you're considering a withdrawal. Okay, so we do have drop-in hours the rest of this week between 11 a.m. and 2 p.m. So you can either come in person or you can get onto a Zoom drop-in. If you go to our Casa webpage, casa@uncg.edu, it has a link for our drop-in Zoom. That's just going to go through this week. Next week and after fall break, to meet with an advisor, you'll need to make an appointment. Okay, I'm gonna go back out of here. Pardon that. And now I'm going to stop sharing for a second so that I can get to these other links that I was trying to do. Okay. Okay, so we can see we're in UNC Genie. Can you see my screen? Heidi, can you see that?
Yes, I can see your screen.
Great. All right. Thanks, guys. Thanks for hanging in with me. So to find out when your registration window opens, you're going to go into UNC Genie, you're going to registration, check registration status. To get to your DegreeWorks report, you go to student records and DegreeWorks, and then it'll show you all the things that you need. So what I'm going to do real quick is I'm going to go to the place where I look at students' DegreeWorks reports, and I am going to look up a student by the name with the last name of Diagnostic, and we're just going to go with Bailey Diagnostic. And as you might imagine, this is not a real person. Bailey Diagnostic is just sort of a template where we can look at DegreeWorks. So looking at your DegreeWorks, there's a ton of information on this. It's hard to make sense of it if you're just sort of looking at it and you see a whole bunch of stuff. So we'll just kind of walk through it. Here's a major. If you have any earned transfer credits, if there's any number here other than 0, then you would be registering on the 7th instead of the 8th. If you have no earned credits, then it's going to be on the 8th. Oh, isn't that interesting? So actually, I'm going to do a what if for Bailey because she's on a different catalog year. So let's just go back to anthropology again, do a what if, and you guys can do a what if for if you're thinking about changing majors. You have the ability to do a what if and add a minor, pick any major that you like. And the first top part here, these are sort of the broad strokes. So let's kind of move it down a little bit. Minerva's academic curriculum and CIC breadth. These are your general education requirements. They're categories of classes, not specific classes. So when you're in Schedule Hero, you're going to be looking by categories and attributes, and you'll type in Mac Foundations or critical thinking and natural science or diversity and equity, and look at what the options. For every one of those categories, there's a whole lot of classes that you could take. We do have a language requirement. So if you're getting a Bachelor of Arts or a Bachelor of Science, you're going to have some sort of a language requirement, and it's a proficiency requirement, not a credit hour requirement. So if you happen to be proficient in a language other than English, you can take a placement test and test out of this requirement. Or if you're somewhat proficient and you're not really sure, you can take a placement test and maybe test out of 101 and move into 102, and then you'd have one less class that you have to take. But this requirement does not go away. Not a lot of times, but one of the main reasons that students don't graduate on time is because they've ignored their additional language requirement. And they think if they just sort of say, I don't see that, then it's going to go away. It does not go away. So you do need to do that. If you haven't started foreign language this fall, you could start it this spring. If you don't do it this spring, that's fine. You can start next fall. But if you're doing the sequence of 4 semesters, that's 2 years worth of foreign language. So don't wait too long. Otherwise, it can delay your graduation. So when you pull up your DegreeWorks report, you're going to notice that things are different colors. If you're currently in a class, it'll come up and it'll be highlighted in blue. If you've already earned credit for something, it'll be color-coded in yellow with a green check mark. And then anything that says still needed, that's what you still need. And when all the still neededs go away, you get your diploma. The things that people miss when they're working through their DegreeWorks report, you do need a total of 120 hours. So some of the majors have different number of credit hours required for the major itself. So anthropology, has a select amount, but for an anthropology major, you can knock out all the still neededs of your gen eds, knock out all the still neededs in your major, but you're still not at 120 hours. Or maybe you don't have 36 hours of upper level coursework, 300 level or higher yet. So those are the things that sometimes people forget about because they're stuck up here in the top, and you're so focused on looking down at the bottom stuff that you don't always remember that. Okay, so let me open up another window, and I'm going to go to Schedule Hero. Again, this is my login, not the way you guys will log in, but I'm going to go back to Bailey. All right, so you pick the term. In Schedule Hero, now this is something that is relevant for spring term. There's the full term classes, which are from January through May, but there are some half semester classes, and there's also winter session. Sometimes what happens is students will register for a class and they think it's spring, but it's actually in winter and it starts in December and they never even knew it. And so they go home for the holidays, and then, the next time they look at their email, they say, oh, you didn't attend this class, you're failing because you didn't attend that. So if you don't want to take a winter session class, deselect that. So when you're registering for classes, go to part of term, deselect winter session. If you do want to add a winter session later, do that on a separate thing. But for now, for spring planning, deselect winter section. You can also pick your instruction modes. If you want all face-to-face and no internet, deselect internet. If you're trying to have a semester that's all online, you can deselect some of these others. So these are very useful filters that you're going to use. You can add breaks. If you don't want to have an 8 a.m. class, you can say, don't give me classes between 8 and 9 a.m. If you don't want any classes after 5. If you've got work hours that you need to work around, you can build in a break so that it's going to show you, it's going to generate schedules based on your availability. So you're going to be able to search by subject, accounting, Arabic, whatever. But with your gen eds, you're going to search by categories and attributes and type in Mac, and it'll give you all those different Macs. If you have not taken a Mac Foundations class, if you're not one in one this term, spring term would be a good time for you to take that. And you can search when you're doing the by categories and attributes. I usually just skip over subject and go straight to course, and it'll show me all the courses and all the departments. So, and then I can click on one and it pulls up a description of the class, and you might say, oh, I love that class, and you add it. And so you go through and you add all your classes, and then you can ask it to generate schedules. You find it, you look through all the options, you find a schedule that looks good to you, and then you put it in your shopping cart. So we're kind of running out of time. So I think maybe I will open up to questions. Anybody have any questions about any of this?
Yes, I have a question.
Okay, Sebastian.
Yes, I wanted to know because I'm hearing that like apparently a minor of game study would be available the next academic year. I wanted to know like whether any courses that I take this year, if that will already be implemented in a minor that might come in the future.
For the gaming thing?
Yeah, I think it's called game studies.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with that really yet. So and I have not seen any classes this coming semester that are related to that. So I think it's still in the works on that one.
I see. Thank you.
So I see a question in the chat that says, how do I schedule a meeting with my advisor? You go into Starfish, and in Starfish, go to starfish.uncg.edu, go to your success network, my success network. And obviously I don't have a major advisor, but you will have, when you go to your success network, you will have somebody there that says who your major advisor is, and then click on schedule an appointment from that. Anybody else? You can either chat it or you're welcome to just open your mic and ask. Another thing I will say, if you're not really sure who your advisor is, when you pull up your DegreeWorks report, it shows who your advisor is, and you can hover over that and email your advisor directly from DegreeWorks. So that's a nice tool as well. So again, if you're thinking of maybe you might want to switch to a different major, you can say, all right, well, I don't know, what do they have over in Health and Human Sciences? Peace and Conflict Studies, or they have more BSs. You know, there's all kinds of different majors that you can choose. And so you might say, I want to be a history major and maybe an anthropology minor. You press what if, process what if, and it shows you what all those requirements would be, and say, oh, okay, here's what it would look like if I were a history major. if I want to be an anthropology minor, any 5 classes in anthropology would give me that minor. And many students have room to add minors. Some of the sciences, computer science, not so much because you've got so much to do in your major, but there are some others. Registration windows open for first year students the first week in November, so November 7th and 8th, but you're going to look in UNC Genie to check when your specific date is. You're welcome. Anybody else? Some of you guys might have a pre-professional track interest, pre-med, pre-engineering, pre-law, that sort of thing. And let me type in a little. You can look in the catalog for pre-professional programs, and it has, you know, pre-dent, pre-med, pre-physician, pre-engineering, all these different things, and you can look through the recommended courses. So what does it mean to be pre-med? Well, when you're doing your gen eds if you're not a biology major and maybe you're an anthropology pre-med, you know, it happens. We do have more sometimes psychology pre-meds, but in any event, your the classes that you would take normally for your general ed requirements in sciences, they're pretty well spelled out for you. You're going to be taking biology and chemistry, and when you go into math, you're going to be taking the calculus track because you need physics as well, and you need to have that math under your belt. Any other questions?
Could you show how we check our registration date again? Like, I know you said it was the first week in November, but how do we check on UNC Genie?
Yep, so you go to UNC Genie, you log in. You go to your student tab, registration, check your registration status. So somebody has a question about study abroad. So specifically with study abroad, you would need to talk to the study abroad office. You certainly can talk to us about it as far as planning when is a good time for you to do study abroad. Again, it depends on your major. Some majors, you really are pretty lockstep in the sequencing of your major coursework. So it would be disruptive to do study abroad during the academic year. And so we would be able to tell you, well, if you're going to do study abroad, it's best to do it over the summer. For psychology majors, for instance, we have, you can take your study abroad during the academic year or the summer, just as long as you do your Psych 211 and Psych 311 back to back. So you don't want to split up those particular classes. You don't want to take 211, study abroad, come back and do 311. So there's sometimes there's reasons that we need to sort of strategize your course planning with your study abroad. And also study abroad is a great opportunity. We might sort of hold off on some of your gen eds because you're going to plan to take classes abroad that will satisfy your gen eds. Of course, there are often major classes as well that you can take while you're studying abroad, but I would start the conversation with your academic advisor here in Casa, but you will need to follow up and talk to the study abroad office. So global languages and communications, that would be perfect for study abroad. Great. Okay, any other questions that you guys can think of? I'm gonna do this pre-professional again. Because there was another link I wanted to show you. Here we go. I have seen that a handful of students have a pre-professional track listed, but they don't want it. It's like, why am I pre-occupational therapy? I never wanted to do that. I'm like, oh, well, it just says that. I don't know how it happened. But there is on Spartan Central a place where you can say, I would like to delete my interest in this designated pre-professional track. So it's not a big deal. And even if you do have that pre-professional designation, that does not change your graduation requirements. What it does, though, is there may be some additional coursework that you'll need to take in order to get into the graduate program that you're hoping to get into. So if you happen to be pre-engineering, that's sort of a unique situation because we do not offer an engineering degree. So anybody who is pre-engineering will be planning to transfer out to another institution. So they might go to UNCG for 1 year, maybe 2 years, and then they're going to transfer out to NC State or Virginia Tech or, you know, someplace that does have an engineering program. So look at your degree works report, check who your advisor is, go into Starfish to see if you can schedule the appointment. If you can't seem to figure out Starfish or you can't find an appointment, email the advisor directly, and then we'll either help you schedule in Starfish, or we'll say if our schedules are completely booked up, which will happen at some point, then we'll say, all right, we're going to have to do this by email, and we'll just sort of go back and forth with emails and help you with your schedule that way. But as long as you're thinking of it now and thinking about getting an appointment with us, there are still plenty of slots available currently. Anybody else have questions? We still have a good sized group here. Heidi, can you think of something that we should cover that I haven't covered?
I don't think so. It sounds like to me that you covered everything. I guess whenever you're ready, we can also just end the meeting if there are no further questions.
So casa@uncg.edu is our email address. Feel free to shoot an email to us, get on the Casa webpage, casa@uncg.edu. Go into your degree works report, look at the things that you need, look around in Schedule Hero. Like I said, you can add classes in Schedule Hero now, and you can make a whole schedule and we can look at it together. You just will need to wait until your registration window opens before you can actually register, and of course meet with us to obtain that advising code. Going once, going twice. Any of you guys have any other questions? I do want to thank you for checking in with us tonight. And I do look forward to meeting with you guys. Thank